Welcome to Monday, December 19th, 2022. Your day weather podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com or on their Facebook page. Also brought to you by WYDOT. Reminding you, when there's ice and snow, take it slow. What's on the table this week? Well, last week it was a Rocky Mountain High Plains blizzard, windstorm, and cold and miserable existence for many of you, especially with the big winter weather conditions that happened across northern Wyoming, Montana, Dakotas, and Nebraska. Well, this week it's the Polar Express. This is going to be the real deal, folks, when it comes to severe cold. It's already cold, and it will be a cold day for Montana, northern Wyoming, into the Dakotas today, as there's a little bit of Arctic air up there already. But for the central Rockies, the Front Range of Colorado, southern Wyoming, it's going to be a fairly mild day. Same for Tuesday, but severe cold is going to plunge into the region beginning Wednesday, really in full force on Wednesday. But we're going to see tomorrow the cold getting into Montana. But during the day Wednesday is the day where the cold air really makes its move. And it's going to plow into the region, bringing severe cold late Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and it could hang on into early Saturday. This Arctic air is going to push very strongly south, then very strongly east across the rest of the nation, causing freezing temperatures in areas that aren't experiencing them usually this time of year, and we're going to see a lot of winter weather with this Arctic outbreak. Temperatures are going to go far below zero. Dangerous wind chills. I mean, we're talking wind chills going past 50 below zero. I think that's not going to be a problem. So this is a dangerous situation. For the second week in a row, stock growers across the Rockies and the High Plains and the Northern Plains, you've got another fight on your hands. We're not going to get a ton of snow. We're going to get some. There will be some snow with this Arctic outbreak, but it's really going to be all about the temperatures and the wind chills. So pet owners, stock growers, be ready. Check on the elderly. Make sure the elderly have plenty of heat available as we get to the end of the week here. What we're talking about is probably the biggest December Arctic outbreak since going back to probably 1989. We had a similar situation about the similar time of year in December 1989, and that is looking to be comparable to what we're seeing coming in with this Arctic wave. It looks rather innocuous right now. It doesn't really look all that bad when you look at the pattern. We have this general west-to-east flow across the nation right now, but up here, right up here, kind of is the leading edge of the Arctic air that stretches back over into here. And there's also a connection of the Arctic air on the surface all the way back up to Siberia. And we'll show you that here in a minute. But what will happen is this system dumbbells to the southwest like this. This pushes off to the southeast. This high pressure builds up north. And that just basically, it just swings the door open. This is where the Arctic air is going to be by late this afternoon. By 5 o'clock this afternoon, the purple area is showing the leakage of the cold air getting pushed south into these areas here. So what will happen is, along and east of the divide and west of the divide, temperatures are going to be a little bit colder than normal, but nothing too bad. But you'll see a big plunge of this purple here in a moment. By noon Wednesday, the Arctic air is going to be right along the U.S.-Canadian border, pushing south. And it's being driven south by the right upper level wind pattern. The door swings open, and that Arctic air gets pushed south. One thing to remember about Arctic air is that it's kind of like molasses. It's kind of like maple syrup. It's just thick. It's dense. The air molecules in very, very cold air get very closely packed together. So there's high density with Arctic air masses. Once you get them to start moving, especially if there's snow on the ground, and there is across the northern tier, and also, once you have strong winds aloft pushing that cold air, giving it a good nudge, there's nothing to stop it. It's very hard to slow down Arctic air, especially once it loses any interaction with terrain. So once it comes out of the Rockies, it's going to plunge south and plunge east. By noon Wednesday, so this is by 11 a.m. Wednesday, look at that contrast between the purple right here. So the mountains, the Continental Divide, holding up that Arctic air. So by noon Wednesday, Montana, the Dakotas, northern and central and northeastern Wyoming are going to be seeing temperatures plunge and areas of light snow develop. Late last week, I think on Friday, we said that maybe the Continental Divide was going to hold up the Arctic air. Well, it's not going to be able to do the job completely. There's going to be some spillage of the Arctic air west of the divide because it's just such an intense push of Arctic air. By Thursday morning, you can see the jet stream is just pushing south. So basically the floodgate's open now. The floodgate is open. Arctic air is going to be rushing on into the region. Nothing to stop it. And once it comes out of the Rockies, there's nothing to stop it. The Arctic air is just going to pour across the rest of the nation. There are the temperature anomalies by Thursday morning. Blue northern into Texas by Thursday morning, into Amarillo. The front range of Colorado's in the Arctic air. Then you can see the Arctic air is getting packed up against the divide, the Continental Divide here, and it will spill over as we get into Thursday night and Friday morning. These are the forecasted low temperatures by Thursday morning in Fahrenheit. This does not include wind chill. So look at those temperatures across Montana. Look at Casper, 35 below. Look at Sheridan, Buffalo, 37 below zero. 15 below in Denver. Sub-zero temperatures all across Montana, even spilling into very cold air, spilling into the Boise area. And there's your blue northern headed towards Texas. We'll show you that here in a minute. So you're talking about sub-zero temperatures far below zero. These would be approaching record lows by this time frame. So when you're talking minus 30 or colder, that is significantly cold. Look at the wind chill values. These are the wind chill values forecasted by Thursday morning, right around sunup. So it goes without saying, these are potentially dangerously cold temperatures and wind chills. This is, you don't mess with cold like this. Be prepared. By Friday morning, we're still below zero. In fact, during the day Thursday, there's a lot of you that won't even go above zero. Thursday's high temperatures will be below zero. During the day Friday, I don't know if we'll get above zero as well, maybe a few degrees above zero. And then the cold will hang on into early Saturday. The one positive is that the Arctic air is going to shift off the divide during Christmas weekend, bringing relief. But from late Wednesday through early Saturday, stock growers and outdoor interests and travelers have to be prepared for a really big Arctic outbreak. There are your sub-zero wind chill values forecasted for Friday morning. So we're still going to be in a bad situation. There will be snow with this Arctic boundary. Now, Arctic fronts don't have a lot of water with them, but water that is available is efficiently squeezed out. So as the Arctic boundary comes through, a lot of you will see a quick 1 to 3 inches of snow. A bit more there where you see the pink areas and certainly up into the mountain areas. So there will be additional snowfall. And then the Arctic air coming in behind it and settling it on in. This is going to pretty much guarantee a white Christmas for 99 out of 100 of you in this region as this Arctic front comes in. Then, as we get into Friday, we are going to see the low swing into the Great Lakes, and this is where we've got big travel problems coming. This is going to be potentially the biggest December snowstorm / blizzard they've seen in a while in the Midwest and the Great Lakes. This is headed right to the heart of the nation's midsection. And look at the connection of Arctic air. This is by Friday morning. Anywhere you see gray, temperatures are below zero. Look at the extent of the sub-zero temperatures across North America here. Huge. But just go on the other side of the globe. It's huge. I mean, this is a giant area of very, very cold air globally, stretching across the northern hemisphere. By Saturday morning, the low lives up into southeastern Canada. And I tell you, folks, it's going to be, and we'll show more on this as we go through the week, but this area of the nation right here is just going to get walloped with blizzard conditions, heavy snow, sub-zero temperatures. It's going to be a headline maker. Precipitation, as you can see, is pretty impressive on the warm side of the system. A lot of this is just going to be rain here. But as you get into the nation's interior, you can see the snow that's going to fall and get pretty far south. There's going to be freezing rain as well. Look at the freezing rain back up here into the Pacific Northwest. Got a patch out here in the plains, and then here along the Appalachians where cold air damming will be taking place. And the major airports, these airports right here, are going to be really under the gun. If you've got a connection through anywhere in this part of the country, late Thursday, Friday, or through the weekend, you've got problems. The eastern seaboard here is going to likely be warm initially, and there'll be a lot of rain, though, and possible delays there as well. The Arctic air plunges in by Friday morning. The gray there is the boundary between 0 and going below 0 Fahrenheit, so you can see how extensive the cold is. Look at temperatures in Texas by Friday morning. Getting into the teens along the Gulf Coast, single digits and probably below 0. The cold gets into the El Paso area, gets into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, all of Texas looking at a major Arctic wave. But you're saying, I'm not worrying because I'm going to go to Florida for Christmas. Well, the happiest place on earth will be right around the upper 20s and lower 30s by Christmas morning. As we get into Monday and into next week, the Arctic Express will move across the nation. It will sort of lift up into Canada and a more westerly flow comes in. So there is relief from the cold coming. Once we get into the weekend and into early next week, it'll be plenty cold, but we won't see the severe Arctic cold. Temperatures should moderate and we'll get a break. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll have more for you tomorrow on this Arctic outbreak, but we're not going to see it miss us, folks. It's coming. Confidence is high that very, very cold air is going to come in mid to late week. Have yourself a good Monday.